Noel O'Keefe looking at the tail of the tape there. One thing that jumps out at you is the 16-year age deficit between these two men. Now, Mark Russell, I can say, being a training partner of Mark's myself, I can say that he is perhaps the fittest 40-year-old I have ever come across. You can see he's in fantastic shape there. But at 24 years old, Michael Kuminiarczyk, fighting out of Hurricane at kickboxing and MMA, surely he has to have a little bit of advantage here in terms of youth and exuberance.
As a 39-year-old man myself, Phil, I can tell you I suffer and go through pain getting up off the couch. So the fact of climbing the steps by Mark Russell's in to compete in a mixed martial arts event only shows the condition and shape he is in. He looks in phenomenal shape, but opposing corner Kuminiarczyk looks absolutely shredded as well. But MMA is not a muscle contest, it is a fighting contest. Your third man in the cage is Mr. Decky Larkin. But again, Phil, it'll be interesting to see the longer the fight goes on, how long the 40-year-old can stay in there. Will his speed and timing be there?
Oh, he got caught there early by Kuminiarczyk. And you have to think Kuminiarczyk...
The right hand for Kuminiarczyk. Drops Russell, but Russell in on a takedown, Phil.
Mark showing his powers of recovery by getting in on that double leg. Good defense work by Kuminiarczyk.
Kuminiarczyk started fast, landed a beautiful right hand, but...
And you have to think Kuminiarczyk, coming out of Hurricane MMA and kickboxing, is predominantly more of a kickboxer. So you can see what Mark's trying to do. He's trying to implement that wrestling game that he's known for. Huge takedown.
Kuminiarczyk staying calm on the bottom. Big pop for the fighter as well.
Can't quite see what he's doing with his other arm on the far side. He's just maintaining that overhook with it. But he's doing very well to get back to his feet.
Yeah. Slittern looking to slide that knee across. Potential full mount here for Kuminiarczyk.
And Mark reverses. Beautiful switch of the hips. I'd like to see him stand up and potentially get a trip takedown. But Kuminiarczyk in on the guillotine.
Moves into side control here. This is... looks out of danger, but again, it depends on the tight squeeze.
In that side control position, he should, with the greatest of respect, let go of that neck, because as you were about to say, leaving himself susceptible to that Von Flue choke.
The Owen St. Peru choke. Oh, sorry, Von Flue choke. Yeah, of course, Owen St. Peru was well known. I think the crowd thought that was a tap there for a moment. It wasn't. It was shots to the body. But Phil, you would know, Mark, would he be aware of the Von Flue choke here in this position?
He should be, yes. I'd like to see him move more to his right side to try and get a little bit of leverage on that. Or perhaps he's happy to sit in this position and let Kuminiarczyk burn his arms out.
Yeah, I was going to say Kuminiarczyk, it might be a little bit, we talked about years and intelligence in that sense. That could be a little novice mistake there, that he's still holding onto this neck, draining that right hand.
And you can tell he's trying to put a squeeze on it, because you can tell from the expression on Mark's face.
Yeah. It's at this point, though, it's more an uncomfort.
Yeah.
And there's the head popped out now. So what can Russell do? He's got a minute to work with here.
Mark 1-0 as an amateur. Won his last fight over Dean McBride via TKO from the ground and pound position. So we know he has that in his locker. Yeah. He's trying to sit back on those heels, posture and strike.
Just trying to sit up into this is Kuminiarczyk.
Again, Mark doing the right thing now by just trying to stifle the pace of Kuminiarczyk, who started so brilliantly landing those shots.
But again, as we talked about in earlier fights as well, Phil, this is going to allow for the shots and the grappling exchange might slow Kuminiarczyk down. We've seen he seemed to have a big speed advantage, working for an armbar here. Time's going to evade him though, but this grappling may just have slowed down his combinations and strikes that he had success with in that first exchange.
What's going to be telling is how Kuminiarczyk starts the second round. If he goes back to his corner here, we see him shaking out the arms, we'll know that he's feeling a little bit of fatigue. But to be fair, he looks incredibly fresh, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does look quite cool and calm, composed, not breathing heavy whatsoever. And this will be the initial exchange. You just see clips Russell as he comes in here. Beautiful right hand, and it's almost like Mark Russell looked like a veteran of MMA, where he went, oh, and then reverted back to wrestling.
Fell into that. It was the awareness of Mark Russell to fall into that takedown and then complete it after having been rocked.
Well, Russell, Jeff Hall in his corner, of course, there. What will his corner be instructions here, Phil?
They're going to be telling him to keep the hands up, be aware of the early opening barrage that I think Kuminiarczyk's going to throw. Change your levels, get the takedown, and from there go to work. Mark also a very heavy-handed, as most wrestlers tend to be, has a very heavy overhand. So you may even see him fake the takedown, go for the touch in the knee, and come over the top.
Couple of questions that we've asked in between rounds might be answered straight away. Is the pop and speed still there? And Kuminiarczyk striking. Russell just trying to work his way in, almost just hit. Strong face, gets caught with that right hand again. Just needs to be careful. He's just coming in head first, Phil.
He almost looked a little bit, I'm not sure if it was fatigue or if he was still feeling the effects of that early strike, but he looked a little bit wobbly coming out there, no?
Yeah. But again, he's negated, he's crossed the danger field, if you like, the open field of fighting.
Switching for the single.
In on a single.
Has the strength and capacity for the high crotch, should he choose it.
Kuminiarczyk looking to potentially tie up a guillotine as they land, but half guard. And Mark Russell will be happy that the fight is where he wants it to take place here.
Well, if I were Mark Russell in this position, I would take 5 seconds just to collect myself. Position before anything else. Position before submission or ground and pound. Take 5 seconds, center myself, collect myself, and then go to work.
And to his credit, I think, although he may not hear you, Phil, I think he is taking that advice and comments on board. He seems to be just settling into this position.
I'd like to see him take his time here. Posture, roll those wrists to try and get himself back into a dominant position. Posture up and land some strikes. Seem potentially may have been working for the beginning of a head-arm triangle here.
Difficult to where he is. He's in the open guard, so
needs to be wary. Sorry to interrupt. No, needs to be wary of the Kimura on his left side here from Kuminiarczyk.
Kuminiarczyk is working a lot of times when fighters go for that from the bottom field. They use it more as a sweep mechanism rather than the submission, but he abandoned it now, and Russell is just sitting in the open guard. Guard is closed just ever so slightly.
It looks low though. It looks low enough for Mark to progress into the half guard should he so choose. But he can't just stay in this position. He can't just stay with his head buried in the chest of Kuminiarczyk.
I was about to say that Decky Larkin just asking for a little bit more from the fighter on top, Mark Russell. He hasn't done much from this. He hasn't really thrown any strikes of note. But again, it's the dominant position, Phil. And again, Kuminiarczyk looking for that Kimura.
He's digging into that gap, trying to get into it. Again, as you say, it may have been more just to try and sweep, to try and get himself back to his feet into a dominant position.
And from the opening round where he got shook to the core, Mark Russell seems to have got into positions here where he potentially could be winning rounds from the top position, although not landing any shots of substance. He is in the dominant position.
Now this is where it gets difficult for me, Noel O'Keefe. The greater damage in that round was landed by Kuminiarczyk. However, the greatest time of positional dominance, if you will, was established by Mark Russell.
Yeah, so scoring criteria is in and around impact and what you've done to your opponent. Octagon, it's effective striking, grappling, and cage control. So when you look at the effective striking, Kuminiarczyk. Effective grappling, Russell. Cage control, you got to say Russell, Phil. So it did.
That's 2 out of 3, isn't it?
Yeah, did Michael Kuminiarczyk do enough impact and damage with his shots landed to overrule and supersede the action of Mark Russell? That's the real question.
Again, that's where it comes down to an issue of interpretation by the 3 cage side judges. Again, one of the most difficult jobs in the world is scoring fights. It's all fun and games doing it from your sofa when you're watching the UFC, when you're watching Clan Wars, but to be there and make those split-second decisions, I do not envy them at all, no.
As we pointed to earlier with Aaron Wallace when he was referee, that knee that was landed, you know, we got to watch that replay at least 10 times and we were still unsure. So, you know, they have a tough job in there, all the officials, both judging and refereeing. We're coming into the third round, and again, I feel like I've said this before, you're not watching Groundhog Day. It could be all to play for here in the third round, Phil.
Mark needs to be careful dipping that head when he's coming in.
Yeah. This is where Mark seems at his most vulnerable, when he's coming in trying to close the gap in range, when he's in the open field.
That's a beautiful inside leg kick from Kuminiarczyk. Actually forced the switch.
Yeah.
And that's usually a telltale sign that it caused damage. There seems to be a greater levity and a greater weight given to the strikes of Kuminiarczyk, and I think he's smelling a little bit of blood in the water here.
Phil, I believe we started at this asking about the age differential and where that will land. I think in the third round we're really starting to see that the tired limbs of Mark Russell after 2 rounds of solid grappling seem to have affected him more so, although he was on the offensive, and Kuminiarczyk could be smelling victory here and chasing it.
What Mark needs to do here is close distance, get the takedown, because it's clear to everyone in attendance here that Kuminiarczyk is the more dangerous striker.
Needs to set his shots up just a little bit more. Kuminiarczyk, he's kind of winging them a little, and he's throwing them in pitter patters. He's throwing them almost like a spar. 1, 2, 3, I go. He resets 1, 2, 3 again, and he needs to mix it up, give a different look, because right now not a lot is coming, and he's allowing Russell to close the gap, and that's not what he wants.
Again, almost a big tilt-a-whirl takedown. There it is from Mark Russell.
A lot of energy expelled by Russell to get that, but worth it. He's inside control. Mark Russell shown grit, determination, and old man strength.
And he just gets the full mount.
Beautiful work, Mark Russell.
What a turn in the tide this would be if Mark Russell were able to force the TKO stoppage.
He looks done here, Phil. The referee looking
Oh!
He's done it. Mark Russell gets the finish. Mikhail Kuminiarczyk was not defending himself intelligently. Mark Russell, at 40 years of age, potentially the oldest man to have won a fight in Clan Wars history.
Age is just a number for Mark Russell. With that finish, he should think about changing his nickname to Jack Russell.
On that line, they tell you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
That was fantastic. No, I'm going to take a bow wow at that one. There we see Mark transition into the mount. Beautiful ground and pound landed by the IFS man. Forcing referee Dick Larkin to get in there, call an end to the fight. Mark Russell remains undefeated at 2-0 inside the Clan Wars cage.
Ladies and gentlemen, your referee, Mr. Decky Larkin, has called a stop to the action at 1 minute and 45 seconds of round number 3. For your winner, via TKO, Mark Russell! Please hold an applause for Michael Kuminiarczyk.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with your winner, Mark Russell. Mark, you're 40 years of age and you don't get a wee bit too old for this.
I'm a balance.
Fantastic performance, sir. It looked like you were getting the dominance in the wrestling exchanges. He seemed to be getting the advantage in the striking exchanges. What were your corner, Jeff Hall and Shane McTasley, telling you leading into that third and final round?
Just pressure. Going in, take the shoot, trying to just stay away from the striking. Boy, he got power. He has power.
Are we going to see you back in the cage anytime soon?
Most definitely. Not ready to hang it up yet.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up one more time for your winner, Mark Russell!